All right, good evening. My name is Sam Crutcher. I'm a practitioner here at the North Hollywood Church, and I welcome you all to the house of God. Thank you for joining us tonight, and those of you that have joined us in person and online, Zoom, Facebook Live, or YouTube. If you are one of our live streamers, please go to the chat and tell us where you're streaming from. Thank you. If you're here in person, please take this moment to ensure that your electronic devices are silenced or off. Okay. We begin our Wednesday evening service with a pre-service meditation. I invite you to get still, close your eyes, normalize your breathing, allow yourself to simply notice that breathing and be present in this space. If your mind wanders, simply bring it back to the mantra, God's the love that I am, and I will bring us out of this meditation in 10 minutes. And so as our meditation comes to a close, gently bring your awareness back into your surroundings, into your bodies. And as you feel ready, open your eyes. Welcome to those of you who have joined us in progress. We're so glad to have you with us virtually and in person. And if you arrived after we started, please ensure your electronics are silenced.
Would you please join the wonderful Darius Lux and our own Sydney, Reverend Sydney, as we all sing together, I Am Open. Here we go.
I am open. I am open.
I am open.
I am open to receive the God in you and me.
Then we sing
I
again.
am open. I am open. I am open to receive the God in you and me.
Of course, after I, it's you. So turn to someone you love or don't know and sing.
You are open.
Or turn to someone you don't like.
You are open. You are open to receive the God in you and me. You are open.
You are open.
You are open.
Yes, you are.
You are open to receive the God in you and me.
Then, of course, we go to we, because it's all about community, right?
We are open.
I know we are.
We are open.
Yeah, yeah.
We are open to receive the God in you and me. We are open. We are open. We are open to receive the God in you and me.
Yeah, yeah.
The God in you and me.
Oh,
The God in you and me.
whoa, whoa. Here's the big finish.
The God in you and me.
What a perfect song.
It is good, isn't it?
It was beautiful. Let's join together in prayer. This is the time. This is the place. The time and place where Spirit is on tap. Together, let's say yes to Spirit. Let's invite in that indwelling presence. That presence of God, the truth, the beauty, the harmony, the wholeness, the health, the joy, the gratitude, the peace, and the grace of God. Knowing that each of us are fulfilled, sustained, and nurtured by that presence of God, the Spirit within. Let us each know that we are individualizations and personifications of the great Maker, the Creator within us, that we bring with us everywhere we go that true spirit of this blessed indwelling presence. I affirm that each of us are aligned perfectly with that unique association, that presence of God within us, the good to which there is no opposite. I know that each of us carries within us the capacity, the enlightened capacity to utilize, to embrace, to enjoy, to spread, to love one another and ourselves with that indwelling presence. It is in our spiritual DNA. It is who we are. There is no less God and no more God in any individual creature or living thing on this planet. From the micro to the macro, we are all inhabited by this loving presence. So tonight I know we are blessed by this communion together, that no matter where we are always blessed, and particularly because we are supported by our musical team. We are uplifted and inspired by the musical intonations that they bring us. We joyfully celebrate each and every note and song. We are supported and uplifted by the tech team and the volunteers, and by each other by virtue of just being here and holding ourselves in the highest esteem. And I know that we are uplifted and inspired by the word of Reverend Sydney, who brings with her the word of God, the word of the presence, the word of all that is good. And so I'm grateful I'm exultant, I am exuberant, I am effusive in knowing that I am supported, sustained, and nurtured by all this and so much more, that I open my heart and my arms and my eyes and my mind to all the possibilities that await us tonight, this moment, and forevermore, as it echoes throughout our days, for days to come, and months to come, and years to come. So I release this prayer into the law of mind. I say it is so, and together we can say, Amen. Oh, please follow me in the Lord's Prayer. I was about to walk off. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Well, they said you can't, so you said goodbye. Took a one-way ride in search of brighter skies. You changed your name, then you changed your face, built a wall around yourself to make a safer place. And you do the very best that you can with the hand you've been dealt. Put on a face so brave, and I see the way you hurt when you take on the weight of the world to keep your dreams alive. So take your time till it feels right. We have forever. Don't keep it all inside. I believe in you. So when you need to hide, don't turn away from me. Just let your beauty shine. It's a peaceful night as we lay outside. Though I feel your heart is restless, you just pretend it's fine. But the scream inside is the loudest cry. I wish you'd set those feelings free. Put down that foolish pride. And I know how hard it is to tell the difference between friends and foes, to trust that helping hand. And the darkness that you see is there to help guide your way to the light, where you can truly shine. So take your time till it feels right. We have forever. Don't keep it all inside. I believe in you. So when you need to hide, don't turn away from me. Just let your beauty shine. So take your time till it feels right. We have forever. Don't you keep it all inside. I believe in you. Oh, yeah. Just let your beauty shine.
Oh my. That is so compelling, and your voice is so compelling anyway. That requires a big chorus, and they're wearing robes, and they all have candles, and they're all doing this. Thank you so much. Oh man, they probably left the green M&Ms in the bowl too, didn't they? Yeah, well, sorry. We'll work on it for next time. Hi. I'm Reverend Sydney. I'm so glad you're here. I didn't expect to be here, but there you go. You tell God your plans, right? And God goes, ha 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 ha. I have to give you some context. It's been a long 6.5 weeks because Dr. Mark has been on sabbatical. So I have been wearing the hat of assistant minister and being, at least while he's been gone, being in leadership. Why is that hard for me to say? Interesting. And also with like teaching classes and then giving talks every single Sunday, which I love to do because that's, you know, it's great and it's fun and I love the whole process. And I have also, over the last several days, been working on what I can only call a magnum opus of my whole story and my intentions as a minister, business plan, spiritual development plan, the teams that we've created here, the stuff that we do here, on and on and on and on, because I'm in the process of applying for ordination through Centers for Spiritual Living. And they require lots and lots of, not just documentation, only I have that too, but you know, your philosophy about this, your philosophy about that, how has that worked, how has it not worked, what are the challenges, what are the successes? And so I knew I was going to be done by last night. And I was still in my office at like 7 o'clock yesterday working on this. And it's actually very, very empowering because it helps to clarify my intentions and my process and all of that. And I'm really, really grateful for anything that allows me to do that. But there's a certain point when you just go, oh my God, aren't we done yet? And I was still working on it, and I thought, okay, well, I know I'm going to be done. And then at 7 o'clock, as I'm going through all this stuff, getting ready to send it in, I realized that I'd been using an old model for their ordination format. And I turned the next page, and they wanted a different one. But they've got all 3 of them up on the website. I thought, well, that's kind of sucky. And so I thought, okay, well, tomorrow's another day. I've got all of this work now. It's ready to be moved and reformatted, and so I can submit it as to the way that they want it, because there's a certain organization. And I thought, that's fine. I've done all the work now. I just have to put it together. So I knew I'd be home all day being able to do that, and then my plan was, too, that I'd have it done, I would submit it, and then sit at home in relaxation with my husband, the cat, and the dog, and binge watch the rest of Outlander because the new season starts in a few weeks. And then I got a text this morning from Liz Raci, who was scheduled to speak tonight. She said, you know, I'm under the weather. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do this. And so I texted back and I said, well, look, at 2 o'clock, let me know how you feel. Meanwhile, I'm like sitting there, I'm writing, I'm organizing, I'm doing the application, I'm doing all of that stuff, and I'm exhausted, by the way, because our 2 animals are intent on keeping us entertained after we try to go to sleep. So the cat squawks and yowls and meows and comes over and wants lots of attention. And then the dog is imagining some sort of something outside that doesn't exist, and now so she's got to go over there. And so by the time I woke up this morning, I was thinking, okay, now what? Fine, I'm going to write this thing. And then Liz texted me, and then she texted again at about 2 o'clock and said, I'm not going to be there tonight. I said, fine, go back to bed. We got this. It's good. And I finished putting all of this stuff together at about 4 o'clock, around 5 o'clock. And then I started thinking, okay, what am I going to talk about tonight? So I tossed a bunch of different titles around. So my title, the actual title that I landed on is Tell God Your Plans, because that's kind of the way the day was. But I've got some alternate titles that I actually thought were pretty good, because I started sending them to a friend of mine and saying, what do you think of this? So the first one was Non-Resistance, Why I Don't Like It. WTF, where's the fun? The power in pretending that everything is fine. Here's another one. But we had an agreement. Here's one. Whining helps, but it doesn't change anything. See, you see there's a trajectory here. As the day went on, my titles got a little darker, a little darker, a little darker. The squeaky wheel is annoying. When your karma comes due. I thought that was good. And then there was apparently a spot of light. What would Oprah do? And my favorite one, and we all agreed I couldn't do this, was the importance of healthy boundaries and why I wish I had some. But I did land on tell God your plans. So, when life happens, how good are we at pivoting? Do we have the capacity to pivot from what we were set on doing into what is before us now? Do we have that capacity, and how do we find that capacity to move from labeling whatever that thing is that has come up a problem and turning it into, in our minds, possibility? Are we even willing to do that, to declare that thing no longer a problem, and to change the way we talk about it, the way we live around that, the way we inhabit that space? Are we willing to not look at it as a problem? What is that thing? Can we even do that and say, okay, I'm willing to declare this is a possibility? You know, Emma Curtis Hopkins is one of the teachers that we really, really study a lot here, and her whole foundation is that life is, it occurs for us as we occur to life. So in other words, that which we decide life is going to be that for us, right? That's the simplification of it. And the way she says it is, we must be willing to declare that this too is good, this too is God, and this too is for me. I demand to see the blessing in it now. Now that is a powerful, powerful statement. And I gotta tell you, there are times that when I know that that's the declaration I need to be making, and that that's the consciousness I need to have about a situation that might have occurred, a surprise, right? Like, oh, a text. I really like sometimes spending time in my own opinion about it. I like to call it a problem because, you know, I've practiced for years to be a martyr, and it seems like I should be able to get some payoff on that, right? Anybody else? I mean, come on. Let's have a little drama here. It seems only fair. I've worked hard for my status of drama queen or whatever it is I think I want to be. I actually don't want to be that. But I know that we have the tendency to hang on really, really tightly to our opinions about what is going on, about what other people are doing, how they are like, what is occurring for us, or what is occurring in the world. And it can take a great deal of self-discipline to challenge ourselves to not do that, to step into a different way of thinking, to rise above it, to rise above what we call those conditions, those experiences, the stuff that's happening. Because the truth is, all of that stuff that's going on, the experiences we see, the conditions in the world, those are all the results of thought. Those aren't cause. The thoughts have caused those things to occur. They're already done. They've already been created. So if we don't want to be about merely rearranging deck chairs on a Titanic, it might be a good idea to explore how the engine on the Titanic is looking and how's the navigation system. And let's go, before there is a quote-unquote problem, let's go back into a place of what do I need to know in order to walk this journey clearly. And if it does look like it's going to be about the deck chairs, you know what? Get a new Titanic, because we are about more than, as I said on Sunday, we are here to do more than spiritual triage in our lives. And most of us often look at stuff and go, okay, well, how can I mend this? How can I fix this? How can I patch that? You know, quick before I'm hemorrhaging all of my confidence, my fear, my peace, I'm gonna hemorrhage everything, all the good, all the bad. And we tend to hemorrhage all of it, all at the same time, as opposed to being in a consistent state of receptivity, peace, and availability. Are we staying consistent in that place? Are we willing to ground ourselves and practice enough so that not only do we have the capacity to pivot to possibility when something happens, but do we strengthen ourselves enough to know that it's not just, ooh, magical thinking, pink fairy dust, unicorns, that we are doing more than that, that we are actually being very, very intentional about how we want to perceive who and what we are in God and who and what God is in us. Because the truth is, we are infinite in our capacity to create possibility, to create lives, to create joy, to create peace. We have infinite capacity because we are part of infinite capacity itself. We are part of the infinite presence itself. We're not limited by anything except the decision we make about that. Does that make sense? Well, you're supposed to say yes. You're a practitioner. Okay, you just go do something. Does it make sense to everybody else? Okay, great. Okay, you can come back now.
I'd be alone.
Well, we never know we're going to be alone. Ultimately, we are. That's a different talk. So I found this book a while back by Neil Donald Walsh. He's the guy who did the Conversations with God stuff, right? He's that guy. And he wrote a book called When Everything Changes, Change Everything. When everything changes, change everything. And I thought, man, that is such a great title because it really is what we have to do. And he's got a whole litany of start here to change this way of thinking, which will affect what you're doing here. Then you can shift this way of thinking. And then you can move over here and begin to, and it's wonderful because it's tiered so that it works along the realm of spiritual growth. But there's a fundamental idea that's right at the beginning of the book I want to share with you. And this may trigger you, which I hope it will, because remember, the job of a minister is to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. So at the moment, who's comfortable? Yeah, it's not going to last long. Okay. Events do not have meanings. Anybody telling themselves that about being quarantined for 3 years? Events do not have meanings. Events are events. And meanings are thoughts. Meanings are thoughts. Nothing has any meaning save the meaning you give it. Oh. And the meaning you give to things does not derive from any event, circumstance, condition, or situation exterior to yourself. The meaning doesn't come from any of that stuff. The giving of meaning is entirely an internal process. Entirely. Boy, well, that will disturb you. That's going to disrupt your process, huh? The meaning that we give an event, an experience, a change, what we call a problem, an opportunity, a surprise, it is in and of itself, it is just something that happens. It's just an experience. But we are the ones who assign it such impact or such worth or such deep, we assign grief to it or we assign good to it. You know, this is really great. This thing happened. Well, it's just a thing, right? Now, consider that there are deeper implications here. And this excites me. And it's not about you or me, your opinions, my opinions, or the meaning that we assign things, all of that stuff. Quantum science tells us that nothing that is observed is unaffected by the observer. Let's put it another way. Everything you and I observe is affected by our observing it. We can be as neutral as we want, but that thing which we are observing is going to be affected by the consciousness we bring to it, right? So it's not merely the reality about atoms, molecules, electrons, quarks, or things someone observes under a microscope. It's not isolated to that. This is global. This is macro. Because we are made up of atoms, molecules, electrons, quarks, and things that people observe under microscopes. And go beyond that, we are sentient spiritual beings. We are sentient spiritual being, and all life is respondent to our thoughts and perceptions because we are one with all life. We are one with all life. So that thing, that surprise, that event that Sydney observes and says, oh man, I'm giving a talk tonight. It's not what I wanted to do. Or I don't get to sit at home and watch Outlander, or whatever that thing is. It's just a thing. It's just a thing. So I get to choose and say, wow, do I want to bring my whininess into this? Or do I want to remember the reason I took this journey in the first place, which is that I get to teach principle. Oh my God, this is like the greatest job in the whole wide world. I love what I do. I love this teaching. I love this community. I love every aspect of it. I even don't mind the commute, and some days it's over an hour because I get to listen to books on spiritual teaching, spiritual science, divine science on love and truth, and I get to listen to the audible version of Outlander, and I get to do all of that on my trip. And so I love every part of it. I'm like a fangirl for myself. This is such a great thing that I get to do. So those perceptions, I know what my perceptions are, and I also know that there can absolutely be that part of me that goes, are you kidding? Are you kidding me? Really? Really? And that is the part that I acknowledge, and then I also decide, is it going to be the navigation system that I use for this journey? Is it going to inform who I think I am, how I think life is? Is it going to be the most primary thought and intention foundational to everything else that I'm doing? No. Because why? Because I get to choose. I get to choose. So Johnny Coleman, some of you know that I talk about Johnny Coleman a lot. She formed a beautiful, huge church in Chicago, and she was the first Black unity minister, and they were not going to let her live on campus because she was Black. This was in the 50s. And all of the other students said, well, if she's not here, we're not here. If she can't be here, we're out of here. And so it shifted because they changed their perception, and they were able to change a greater perception. So one of the things that she always taught was, I am the thinker that thinks the thought that makes the thing. I am the thinker that makes the thought, or that thinks the thought that makes the thing. I am the thinker that thinks the thought that makes the thing. So the thing is just the thing, but what we think about it is up to us entirely, entirely, entirely. One of my acquaintances is this wonderful guy named Terry McBride. Some of you might know his name. He's just this wonderful and inspiring speaker, teacher, author, and New Thought icon. I remember hearing him, wow, so many years ago when I was probably, well, I must have been in utero if I'm going to go back that far, because I really aren't going to tell you all how old I am. But anyway, so Terry McBride has wrote this book a long time ago called The Hell I Can't. And this is what I want to read to you about it. And this is just right on the cover. And I love hearing him speak because he is so powerful. He said, it didn't matter that I had an incurable disease. It didn't matter that the odds were against my getting well, or the odds against my getting well were 1,000,000 to 1. It didn't matter that some of the finest doctors in the world said I couldn't expect to come out of this ordeal whole. I was done listening Thank you, exactly. So what are we listening to? You know, if we are listening for a diagnosis of this is bad, this is good, or through the filter of, and it doesn't matter whether we're talking about a health situation, a relationship situation, a financial situation, whatever it is, if we are listening through that filter, that perception of this is bad or this thing is bigger than God is, then we're absolutely, that's where we're going to get taken out. We're going to get taken out. And I don't want any of us to get taken out by life. I want us all to be able to look at these things and call them evolutionary triggers, those things that cause us to grow, to expand, and to know more about who we are as spiritual beings. Because the truth is, we are limitless. We are limitless in potential and infinite in creation. That's from Eric Butterworth, and it is absolutely true. And if we are not believing that, that's where we get to force feed it to ourselves. We get to force feed that, and that's okay, because we have to be willing to start somewhere. You know, we often say, as ministers or spiritual coaches or counselors, we say, meet people where they are. But how often are we meeting ourselves where we are? And we have to do that. We have to meet ourselves where we are. And not every day does it feel like, whoa, I am a superhero and I've got superpowers and I absolutely know myself as God knows me. I am perfect, whole, I am complete. I am a manifestation of God's consciousness. I know that I am amazing. We don't always feel that way. In fact, the resident poet laureate, he's no longer alive, for Unity, it'll come to me. Anyway, James Dillard Freeman said, "You are perfect, but you're not perfected." We are perfect beings, but we are in this process of being perfected, of being lifted up so that we may be these wonderful lights in the world and lights for ourselves. One of my favorite lines I remember getting from Michael Beckwith a long time ago, and he said, and he didn't make it up, but it's such a good line. God doesn't call the qualified. God qualifies the called. So, you know, we have a dream and we think, well, okay, this is what I want to do. But then we start saying, but I'm not ready yet. This can't possibly be my dream. It must be someone else's. You know, maybe we want to be a great musician, and we think, well, I don't even have a piano. I don't know how to play a piano. I can't read music. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. I promise you that Sam did not show up on the planet already knowing how to do all of the above. I promise it took lots of talent, but lots of work, discipline, and being qualified by that principle and that presence, whether he calls it God or just that discipline of life. I promise you it took time. A couple of weeks, 3, 4. Close. Yeah, or years. And I know because I've walked that journey too as a musician. And we must be qualified so that we can give birth to that thing, that idea, that desire. It is about preparing the manger so that we may birth that thing that only you and I can do. Sam talked about that spiritual DNA in his opening prayer. And the DNA that you and I have is absolutely unique. It is absolutely unique, that spiritual DNA, which threads of God, threads of you, threads of God, threads of me. We are that double thread, as Walter Starkey called it. We have the capacity. We have great capacity. I was looking at a book called Questions Jesus Asked. And I thought, okay, let's look at this and see what I can glean from it that might kind of wrap up my talk. So in part of it, the author, Kennedy Schultz, who was a religious science minister, is talking about the loaves and fishes. And trying to describe that the main principle about that experience where, Jesus made tuna sandwiches for 5,000 was not about, it wasn't about the food. It wasn't about the food. And people will come up with possibilities of saying, well, maybe there was just such a spirit of generosity and faith and joy and delight and support that everybody shared their food. Okay, I don't even need to know any of that, because what I want to look at is the spiritual principle behind it. What is the metaphysical idea that applies to my life or your life that we can use? And this is what he wrote. The point of the story is that man's capacity to enlarge his good comes directly out of his recognition and praise of what good he already has and his readiness to share it freely. That which we praise and energize and attend to multiplies. By the way, that which we negate, pay attention to, and complain about will also expand, because it is the energy that we are affording it. It's the line is, energy flows where your attention goes. The divine energy of this life will always come through us and flow into that we are paying attention to, whether it is a loving possibility attention or it is a, oh my God, now what am I going to do? What am I going to do? This is awful, this is awful, this is awful. It will, because what it does for us is our perception multiplies. So for all of us, I want to encourage that we take the time to move from reacting to what we think is an experience that will be bad or a situation that will be bad, and at least be willing to elevate it to the level of surprise, maybe opportunity, blessing. If we can't get to blessing, if we can't yet call it good, this is God, just plot twist. Can we call it a plot twist? One of my girlfriends, we were working on this idea a couple months ago, and looking at the idea of how life had changed for her and for her husband, because his mother had received a really what has felt, and absolutely is, because I'm not going to minimize what they are going through, a very dire diagnosis. And in that process, all of the resentment and fear and anger and pain that had been present between that woman, the mother-in-law, and my friend, the other daughters-in-law, and the other women in the family, frankly, had disappeared like that, completely disappeared. Because this woman recognized, it was such an epiphanal, oh my God, I could die from this, and it could be very, very soon. She let go of all of it. And when one person lets go of it, everybody gets to let go of it. We have that opportunity. And so we were describing it as a plot twist, only it was more than a plot twist. It's like a whole new team of writers. It's a new network now that the show is on. It's being recast. The intentions are different. The production crew is completely different. And now it's a brand new show. It's a brand new show. You and I get to have a brand new show, and we can do it anytime. As Dr. Mark would say, we can do it right now, anytime between right now and right now. Is that what he says? Now and right now. God, it's good he's coming back. So we can do it anytime between now and right now, and right now, and right now, and right now. Let's make it a brand new production. Do more than a plot twist. Let's make it a brand new show. And be willing, I invite you to be willing to look at it and to say, okay, something's going on here. This is brand new. This is good. This is God. And I am willing to be willing, to be willing, to think about being willing to see it differently. And so it is. All right, let's pray and anchor this, shall we? Oh, so we take this time to just breathe into this deep knowing And we choose to be where our bodies are, releasing any anticipation of tomorrow, any thoughts of yesterday. We just breathe into this now moment, recognizing that we cannot breathe into the past, we cannot breathe into the future. We can only breathe in the here and now, because this is the place where all of the power in the universe is seeking to express through us, to support us, and to move us into a higher level of knowing. So we recognize together that that infinite presence, which we call God, which we call love, which we call life, whatever it is that we call it, that it is calling us to recognize that we are infinite beings. We are infinite creations of spirit, and although we may not see ourselves as perfect yet, we know that we are being perfected. Because within us is that innate divine perfection of God itself. And nothing and no one can stand in the way of that. So as we are in this space, and if there is a need that has occurred for you that appears to be one in the realm of physical health and well-being, I invite you to know that right where that situation is, that experience is, whether it is for you or someone you love, know that right where that is, God is fully present, God is fully active, and only the high and holy activity of God can take place through you, through your whole life, that God always has a bigger idea, and that idea is about blessing. It is about shifting and lifting into a knowing of ourselves as part of the divine. That everything that happens to us is an invitation to go deeper and to move into the consciousness of oneness. Evermore, evermore, evermore. And if there is an area in your life, perhaps finances are calling to you, and you have concern about that, we know that God is active as finance. God is active as flow. God is the source. God is the only source. God is source and substance. Instant, constant. The flow of life cannot be denied, will not be denied. So we say yes to knowing that we are part of that flow. And we are willing to be available, to be open to it, and to see it in a different way. And if perhaps you are finding yourself called by relationship situations, or even situations across the planet, be willing in this moment to declare with me that right where that is going on, despite appearances, God is fully, fully active and fully present. And God is greater than any situation. God is greater than any relationship. God is greater than any political party. God is greater than all of that. How good it is to know that we can at any time turn to that truth and recognize that there is one life, one mind. It is God. It is perfect. And it is fully orbed and fully inhabiting each of us right here and right now, always, in all ways. So in gratitude, we release this word into spiritual law, knowing that we have also set the intention for ourselves moving forward into this world, that we recognize and always know that we have the choice to say, this too is good, this too is God, and I demand to see the blessing in it. And we do demand to see the blessing, and we feel the blessing, and we offer that blessing, both for this church, for all churches everywhere, every ashram, every temple, every mosque, every synagogue, every cathedral, everywhere where people gather, knowing that there is more, always more than what appears to be going on. So we choose to perceive and observe all of it with love, all of it with clarity, the clarity that comes from knowing that right where we are, God is and all is well. So we are grateful. I release this word to spiritual law, knowing it is already so. Together we say, Amen.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Oh man, thank you. So now is when we invite you to share your gifts, your tithes, your love offerings. So we invite you to take that and to hold it in your hand, and then to hold your hand to your heart, that center of life. And we have an affirmation we say. It's within the bulletin that you have there. And I invite you to say it with me. From the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper. It is evidence of my faith and belief. It does good work in the world and returns to me multiplied abundantly. And in a few minutes, Sam's going to tell you what you can do with those gifts. So hold on to them and let's sing.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Rest in God and say amen.
Thank you, Darius. So that's what we get with only a few hours of prep? That was spectacular. Would it impress you to know that I've seen every Outlander and read every book of Diane Gabaldon's?
No way.
Yeah.
Gabaldon, yeah.
Gabaldon.
Yep. Yep.
Every one of them.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Let's file that away for future reference. And I have announcements. You can make donations to our church through our text to give number, our QR code, or through our website, nhcrs.org/give. Or as you walk out, those blessed gifts you held to your heart, there are 2 boxes, one on each side, beautifully decorated with little slits on the top that you can drop that in. We do appreciate your love and support in that way. Prayer with a Practitioner is available after service in person and on Zoom. Every Sunday morning at 9:45, our junior church is open to kids from toddler to teen and in between, and they are thriving. Wednesday night healing service with Reverend Sidney Steen next week.
Yes.
Meditation 6:50, service 7 p.m. Next week, the topic is, it's all a setup. You know what I'm saying. Gourmets for God. If you haven't already done so, please pick up your tickets on Sunday. Grief support group on Zoom with practitioner Carol Winokur. This group will meet this Sunday at 1 p.m. on Zoom. Scientific Christian mental practice class. Part 2 with Dr. Mark Vieira. Don't worry if you did not take part 1. Dr. Mark will catch you up in the first evening. Join Dr. Mark for this life-changing 7-week class beginning Monday, June 5th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. on Zoom only. This class will help you establish a foundation for healing and wholeness in every area of your life. Sign up online or Sunday on the patio. Save the date. Sunday, June 4th, NHCRS 70th anniversary celebration. Join us for a very special service, 9:45 or 11:30 a.m., as we honor our beloved church for shining the light of oneness for 70 years. Whew. There's nobody here that's been here that long, by the way. There will be special guests and, most importantly, cake on the patio following services. See you there, other than God, of course. Zoom virtual patio before and after Sunday and Wednesday services. Zoom meditation every morning, Monday through Saturday from 7:55 to 8:15 a.m. Visit our website, nhcrs.org, to obtain Zoom links and more info about all our events. Sign up and to sign up for weekly e-blasts and monthly newsletters.
So much going on here. And I want you also to know that on the 11th, so the 4th is our anniversary, 70 years. And the following week, we are having a Bring a Friend Sunday. So we would like you to bring your friends and eat pancakes with us. And we are going to have our practitioners out on our patio showing information, offering insights about our ministry service teams, groups that we would love for you to think about getting involved with. Because, you know, when we connect and we serve with others, oh my gosh, our lives just open up and they are so powerful and so wonderful. So I hope that you will just remember we've got a lot going on and it's a lot of fun. Okay, I'm just going to benedict us out of here. I want to say what minister when I was a little girl used to always say. Okay, I surround each soul here in a circle of light protection, infinite light protection, a spiritual magic tube which is impenetrable, invulnerable, and invincible. A ring pass not. Nothing shall touch them but the direct action of God, and that is love. This is the truth. God knows it, I know it, and I know that I know it, and so it is. Have a wonderful week. You want to sing one more time?
Yes, let's all stand and sing Blessed Always one more time, led by the amazing Darius Lux.
Yep.
Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say,